What's going on, world? It's your man Pat Caesar, Caesar LLC, mobile mechanic and roadside services, and we are working on my dad's 2012 Dodge Challenger SRT8 with the big boy Hemi in it. All right, this is the 392, and we are needing to check the transmission dipstick or transmission level. And of course, as you can see, this is a sealed system.
Promise you you'll catch me.
So I just want to go through a couple things that you guys are going to need. First, you're going to need a couple of these, some heavy duty jacks. What you would also need is a computer that can actually read the transmission temperature. Unfortunately, I've done it before, at least I think I have. That computer's not doing it. So I had to go another route and go get the longest dipstick in the world. This thing is like 4 foot, and it is Dorman number 917-327. And what we're gonna do, basically, the car is cold right now. We're gonna take this. So you're gonna twist and pull. We're gonna take you out now. Unlike your traditional all dipsticks, this thing seriously is 4 foot long. When you buy this, it is going to come with this chart, and what you want to do is find your model within this chart. So we're working on, for instance, where is it? Challenger. Alright, and since it's not year specific, you would need to know your transmission code. We have the NAG1, the W5A580 transmission, and we're going to be looking at chart A. That's from 08 to 11. Alright, so what you would do to find this out is either Google it or call your dealership or go to your local dealership, give them your VIN number, and they'll tell you which transmission is in there. So we are looking at A, that's NAG1, that comes in the Dorman pack. And what I'm looking at, from what I can gather from this, is to stay our minimal and maximal lines. Minimal at fluid temperature, Fahrenheit from the fluid level in millimeter, about the halfway threshold between these two is about 70 at its peak, okay, on 75, and that is at 200, so that's roughly warmed up. Cold, we should be, the fluid, the level should be about 25 from what I'm seeing, and I'm trying to stay in between. I don't want to go too high or too low, so about 25. But I have no way to check the temperature. That's the problem right now. I have no way to check the temperature besides maybe my infrared. But since I don't have that, the next thing I'm going to do is just go strictly by the dipstick, like it should be. So you just follow the directions on here, really. Get a level ground, put it in gear, crank it up. I'm gonna check it both cold and hot first, and we're gonna also warm it up, let it idle, go through all the gears, and then turn around and oh, there's the level right there. Come back and probably do this actually on the hood. We'll come back and recheck it again, but I'm making sure it's level first. I'll drop the hood to do it. Put it on. You're gonna need a couple ramps. Pieces of wood are always advised. A couple of jacks. So we're also going to change the differential fluid, but I'll put it into 2 different videos so you guys can see how to do it. Make sure you're level to do the transmission fluid. That's the one we're gonna focus on first. Level it. Check it cold to see where it's at on the dipstick. It is measured in millimeters, as you can see there, and my target is to stay about 75, so in between that 70 and 80. for it being warm. That's the game plan. Now, like I said, you do need a scan tool to get the accurate temperature. My scan tool is not working right now, but the show must go on because we're going to be changing the the pan gasket, the filter, and replacing the fluid. Okay, so we are changing the filter too, right? Okay, we're replacing the filter, so we're dropping this whole thing down. So with that being said, get your leveler ready and we'll show you guys what to do here. Got that official Mopar stamp. That means you spent money. Gonna need a can of brakes cleaner. 1 or 2 will do fine. Now we're not doing a complete flush. We're doing a pan drop and fill. So just keep in mind that you're always gonna have some left over in the torque converter, in the transmission lines, and the transmission cooler itself. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So essentially all we're doing is trying to get what's in the pan down. Change. The next thing we're going to also need is limited slip additive. This is for the rear end though. This isn't for the differential, and these are for the differential too. So this is for another video. This is another video. But for the transmission, parts cleaner, oil, I recommend using the regular ATF straight from Mopar, or straight from Dodge. You want to make sure you keep that stuff oily as possible. We're going to need a filter or a funnel. This is a transmission filter. Simple enough. Make sure you guys see it's got a gasket on it and it's all good. That little thing is important. The gasket, and this is a pump, but we're going to use that for the differential. Also, you're going to need a catch pan, and then we're going to need a leveler, which I've already leveled it out so the car is ready to rock and roll. I just got to jack it up, and of course you're going to need the car. And once we got all that, we'll be ready to rock and roll. All right. So we got our long Dorman dipstick here, y'all. Now the first time I put this in here, and make sure it's cleaned off at the top. I did not get all the way down. I thought it bottomed out, but it didn't. So just to let you know, you may have to twist this thing a little bit. There you go. And you will hear it. So just try to get as quiet as possible and just, you can hear it. And also it'll start to become spongy as you're trying to put it in. It'll pop right back out. Okay, so with that being said, oh, thank you. Get you a clean rag too. Good observation. Get the covers dirty, so you want to put that down there. And it took about almost to the 1/8 of the end of this thing to come out, and this is checking it cold and already leveled. So as you can see, our level right now is showing about, well, that time it showed a little bit more, so now it's showing, no, that's the same thing, 87, about 87. Is roughly right there, right before the 90. Okay, our color, it's actually good. It's in a good standard. It's a little bit on the dark side, but using a red rag, you can kind of use that as a comparison. Is it should look like this rag, right? The browner it is, the worse it is, and if it turns black, you got problems. Okay, so that's what the color that we're essentially looking for. Ours cold was showing at 87, so we're kind of going back to that same millimeter. And I don't have the temperature like I said, but we're kind of just dropping the pan and using that, so you can also use that as a good reference. All right, so once this thing is up in the air, that music in the background is not copyrighted by me. There's your training pan. No, it's cool, don't worry about it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take down this transmission mount. So actually, let me see, we might be able to actually access it without, yeah, we'll take this training mount off, crossmember mount. And I was thinking I had to hold the tranny or something. Yep, so you got 2 bolts here, 4 bolts, 2 bolts here, 6 bolts all together. And you're gonna keep this part in here. This is just a mount, that's the bushing. We'll take the bracket down, and then we're gonna have full access to the transmission pan. And just like GM and most American cars, it's one way to drain plug, so you have to drop the whole pan just to be able to change it. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, we'll find that star pattern. I got it somewhere, and this is probably like a 13 millimeter. And like a 15, and we'll take this down. Yeah, there we go. All right, so the whole car is lifted off the ground. We got jack stands and jacks to keep us safe. We got a tarp down. So what you want to do in this section is just go little bit by little bit. So there's 6 T30 Torx bits. I think this is called a Torx bit that holds in that transmission pan. And what you want to do is loosen one side first. You remove the transmission support, and you want to loosen every bolt up, and then go to one side, pick a side, and then loosen that side a little bit further. And as you can see, it will start to drain. Right? Make sure you have something down, because this stuff gets everywhere. It is stinky, and it is hard to come off you when it's on there. It isn't as bad as differential fluid. And that was all I was gonna say that too, Pop. When we do that, that diff stinks. Like, that stuff is horrible. Jesus, oh my God, that I hate doing gear oil. That's why I told you I haven't done it in the truck. So either way, once we get down with this section here, you'll see it starting to drain. We're just gonna continuously do this in smaller increments until we get all the fluid down and able to actually drop the pan. And then I'll show you guys whenever you change the filter. It's simple procedure. Clean everything up, use some parts cleaner, and you would literally just pull out the filter, pop the new one in, pop the pan back on, fill to desired level. And I did not check this with a temperature gauge. Like I said, I'm simply going from a cold reading, bringing it down, filling it up, and checking it again from a cold reading. So I never did check it while it's warmed up. You can do it like that and then get 2 different readings, but that's how we're gonna do it, because we're just replacing the fluid that's in the tranny, not trying to get everything out of the torque converter, out of the lines, and out of the transmission cooler. By doing this, if you cycle it a few times, you will eventually get everything out, or at least you will have it freshened up a little bit. You'll never be able to get 110% out, like I say, but this way will help you make your transmission last a whole lot longer, despite what the dealership says. You're looking at 20+ bucks for dipstick, and then, you know, essentially the oil and filter. So you can do this while they charge, you know, $300 at the Dodge dealership. You can do the same thing at home for less than $100. So let's keep on going with it. Show y'all guys in the next section what we're gonna do next. All right, so back under the car, y'all. No, you all right. That's your transmission filter. Get that on there. That's your filter. That's how it looks. There. This is your valve body. Thank you. And essentially, can you hold it for me? And then we're just gonna gently pry this out, and that's it. That is your filter, and as you can see on here, this is the metal shavings. So you can see that's about how much is coming out of there. And once we look at the pan, you'll get a better idea, because you can see how it's clear here. Like, that's what I mean. All that is metal shavings. This is why this is an imperative job to do. Don't let them tell you not to. Oh yeah. Yes. All right. So we also want to take a note of how the transmission oil pan looks. Now it does look relatively clean. Okay. This is your magnetic drain bolt, and I'm gonna take this out and show you all the way, because there's a gang of metal on this thing, and this transmission is great. It has a little bit of that flutter or stutter, shudder, whatever you want to call it. So we're gonna take this out, clean this whole thing up with parts cleaner and a microfiber or a red cloth, and put everything back up, put a new gasket on, and filter, fill her up, and then we'll move on to the differential. Alright, so the magic moment. There's our pan. Now you see this. There's our magnet right there. Y'all seeing this in 4K right now. It's official. That's our new filter. Alright, so clean hand. That is our metal particles. Yep, that is our metal particles. So it's not so bad, but this car has only got a little bit over 100,000 on it, so I tell you not to do it. This is the reason why you should. And you probably can't see it that good in the camera, but you can see the metal particles in the transmission fluid kind of swirling around in there. So Yep, gonna go ahead and change this out. Put this new filter on. Put the new gasket on. Put the new filter, and then that's it. Oh yeah, it's magnetic. That is it. Let's see the change in color from the gray. Those are from your clutch packs right there. There you go. Okay. All right. So after draining, after dropping the pan, it was recommended by the manufacturer, by the dealer, at least to the technicians that we talked to put 5 quarts in. But we were supposed to put in the amount that we took out. But after dropping the pan, literally less than a quart came out. I put a hose on the breather tube, or the dipstick tube, to no avail. Blowing in it, putting everything in it, and nothing is coming out. I mean, it's like blowing straight down because the filter's already down. So the game plan is to bump it and see if we can get anything to come down from there. All right, you want me to bump it? Okay. Just bump it. You ain't even gotta cut it all the way on. So we're looking for the fluid to come right out of where the filter was at. All right. Oh yeah, it did come out. It didn't come out where I thought it would, but it did. Just a little bit, probably a quarter of a quart. Do it one more time. All right. Yeah, still not near as much as I thought it would. It's still draining, but for how much I was thinking was gonna come out, that did not work out the same way. So one more time. All right. Okay. All right, we'll let that go, and that's we're trying to just clear it all. All right, y'all. So we're sitting here. We went through everything. So this is the takeaway from how this whole thing works. As you can see, the trans is back up. What you would do: jack the car up, get it on jack stands, come under. You have 2 13 millimeters, 4 13 millimeters on either side, 2 15 millimeters. You want to support the oil pan or tranny pan. Drop this bracket down from the cross member for the tranny mount, and then you have 6 of those star torque style bits. You want to pull those off, move this back, loosen it up, put an oil pan here, drain it down, take out the filter, it pops right out, should be closer to the bell housing. Let that drain for quite some time. We did start it 3 times for less than 2 seconds, and then cut it back off to make sure we got as much as we could out. Once everything was out, clean everything with parts cleaner, install new gasket, new filter, and put everything back. So what we got out was approximately 5 gallons. That is 4 US quarts, and that's exactly what we're gonna put in. So being that my scan gauge was not working for me, we did not do the temperature test, but we did get about 87 millimeters out cold. Now you're supposed to check that warm, or the car warm, but this also does not have a drain pan, so that would make it a little bit hard, and you have to let it come back down the temperature unless you wanted to essentially get burnt by the transmission fluid. So we did that. We didn't do that, but did the pan, dropped it down, and just did everything manually since we don't have a plug. If you had a scan tool, you would just find the temperature. You would check it while it's warm, run through all the gears, check it, see where millimeter it's at, and then proceed to drain it after that, and then get back to the operating temperature once the new fluid is in, and then recheck the millimeters, and then add to the percentage that you want. So if you guys don't have a computer to do that, and you don't want to go to the dealership, all I recommend is buying that. I think it was a Dorman 917 something. I'll put the part list down below. I recommend buying that, checking it cold, and then dropping the pan, keeping a precise measurement of how much came out, and then adding that exact same amount in. And then once everything is done, before, and this is all cold, do not start the car, check the fluid again while it's cold, and then you would run from there. But I still do recommend, we're gonna get the computer right so I can check it by temperature and make sure that it's adequate. But that is what you guys are looking for. That is how to change the fluid without a scan tool on a 2012 Dodge Challenger SRT8 6.4 liter. If y'all have any questions, leave me a comment below. You can shoot a message over to my website, caesarauto.com, and we can continue the conversation. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I think that's it. So until next time, mi gente, vi pro mundo beneficio siempre.